Good morning, everyone. This week, my project involves the kitchen. I just had a crazy idea, I don't know, about a couple weeks ago, about canning and doing jelly. Um, and what's something you don't see in a lot of stores? Beer jelly. I did my research, and it turns out it is a real thing. So we are going to approximate a recipe just to see how it works, because a lot of the jams and jellies that involve beer tend to involve other items too, and beer is just kind of secondary. So I figured let's try an experiment, and we'll kind of do things that kind of like mix them together, so maybe it won't taste so horrible. So this week we are going to try a cerveza jelly. Our ingredients will be a Guatemalan style cerveza lager. One bottle, by the way. About a third of a quarter cup of lime juice. I've eyeballed this. I didn't bother to do actual research to, see what conversion rates are. So if it explodes, it was nice knowing you. Also, we got about a third of a package of pectin, which is the primary jellying agent for those of you who aren't aware, which I wasn't aware before starting this party. And about a cup of sugar. Compared to most recipes, this is scaled down by a third, just because if I'm going to fail, I don't want to waste most of a six-pack and a gigantic thing of sugar and pectin and lime juice, etc., etc., etc. So the first thing we're going to do in this process is mix up the liquids. So there we go. Give it a swirl. And then we are going to wander over to the stove and put this on the boil. Due to poor editing and laziness, I didn't hit the record button as I was pouring this, but in the pot right now is our mixture of the liquids, the cerveza and the lime juice. I have it up over medium heat, and we are going to let this come to a boil. And while it's doing that, we are going to do more things with the dry ingredients. Keeping an eye on this because I was warned that this could foam like a mo. So there's that. So please don't let me forget to check on this so it don't explode. All right, closer to the ground while our liquids are bubbling, we are going to kind of put together the dry mixture as they kind of recommend. So the first thing we are going to do is take the pectin, put it in our little mixing bowl, and then take about half the sugar and put that in the mixing bowl as well. Please, and the links I'll throw out there, but subscribe to my YouTube page, blah, blah, blah. Oh, check out my Patreon so I can have a better setup so I don't have to be like kneeling in the kitchen. Anyway, so it's about half the sugar. Yeah, that's about half the sugar. And the rest is in this mixing bowl. I left my whisk across the room, so whisk! All right. Gonna just quickly kind of mix up the sugar and the pectin. Till it's nice and together. And then the rest of the sugar is going to go directly in a two-part process into our liquids. So let's take a look at our liquids and we will work from there. All right, our liquids are boiling. We've actually already had one like massive boil over, so the flames underneath here are a pretty color. We are going to add the sugar, just the sugar, so about a half cup for this recipe, and we are going to whisk that together. I think we're good here. All right, we are going to let this come back to a boil, like a full rolling boil for about a minute once it goes. and then we will add the pectin sugar mixture. As you can see, we are coming to a full boil again, and it's been about a minute. So before it decides to explode again, I'm going to add the sugar and the pectin mixture. Calmed his ass down, didn't it? Alright, sorry about the not family-friendly language. As I'm apologizing, we are going to whisk. In your own home, you don't have to apologize for swearing. But since this is YouTube and, you know, children could be present, though why you're letting your children watch a beer jelly recipe, I don't know, but who am I to judge? Gonna whisk that till it's all properly dissolved. And we are going to let that sit again. Once again, going to let that come to a full boil for about a minute. And then take it off. Alright, we're back. And our mixture is off and churling around and gonna explode. So we're just going to go ahead and take it off the heat now. Because it has been about a minute of the boil. I'm going to take it off the heat, move it over here, can't hold the camera, and move things off the heat at once. Let's see, without the heat, it's coming down quite nicely, I might add. And look at that. So from here, we are going to, which I didn't prepare beforehand, for whatever reason, our container. Traditionally, you would use a canning jar, but I don't intend for this to last terribly long, so I'm not going to worry about the full canning procedure of the hot bath and whatnot. But I did disinfect a Tupperware container that will store this as I proceed to do my experiments. So I'm going to stop the camera, go get my stuff together, and pop it back on real quick when I get things loaded in the bin. All right, now our mixture over here has been kind of put in its container. We are going to let this sit, preferably in the refrigerator, as it sets up. And once it's hopefully totally firm, we will give this a taste test and see how horrible it really is. So we'll see you in a couple hours. All right, it's been several hours later, and actually our jelly has firmed up quite a bit. There's a lot of condensation still in there just because, you know, it was piping hot when I put it in here, and I haven't exactly cleaned it out. I have some toast in the toaster, waiting for that to pop, and then we will give her a shot. Hopefully anytime now. Okay, the toast finally done did pop. Had to do like a little bit of editing because shit didn't pop until forever. But anyway, let's give our beer jelly a taste, shall we? The test is going to be on traditional wheat bread, mostly because I just don't want to take a spoonful of jelly for no good reason. I think it's turned out alright. Actually, the bread has overpowered it, so I might just go ahead and take a bit of jelly extra. It's a very subdued flavor. You do get this. You do get the hint of, citrus, because I'm eating with my mouth full. I think if we do this again, we should try it with a lager, something a bit more flavorful and robust. I think that would help out, but just the fact that this experiment worked amazes me, because normally it doesn't on the first try, and I did it with a very minimal mess, mostly because I wasn't paying that much attention because I was busy fiddling with the camera here and all that good stuff. So, beer jelly. Moderately successful, some things to tool around with in the future, but it's not terrible. So, good enough. So, I bid you to do, of course, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, all three of you. Hit me up on Patreon. There's all sorts of great doodads for all my backers, especially once you get to the $10 and above. But otherwise, bon appetit.